connecting now. Hopefully that will work, okay? Other than that, I will have to check on that later. Anyway, so let's see. So yes, I don't want to get greedy with the comment that I want this weather to go to January and how about all the way to April? It's a little greedy, so I'll take it till January. We can have some winter because I do enjoy all the different seasons. So let's just enjoy it. But anyway, we actually, crazy enough, have all of our windows open in the house. Whoa. And the sun is out and the leaves are still churning. Not everything has fallen to the ground, and that's great. Anyway, so that's my story. What are we doing today? Today is Minimal Metal Monday, and it's based on my book, Minimal Metal Jewelry. And the book is still available on our website. As you may or may not know, in a couple weeks, I'm going to move on and I'm going to step away from Minimal Metal Mondays and I'm going to do Hot and Cold Mondays. Actually, it seems to be right because I'm sure next Monday it'll be cold. Anyway, so that will be based on my book, Hot and Cold Jewelry Connections. And some of those projects are posted already. I'm diligently working on December. Hopefully everything for December will be done tomorrow or Wednesday and posted. But that's the story. Oh yes, because everybody was so happy with the ornamental project, that the step-by-step surprise, it's going to be still a surprise project, but I will tell you, I'm calling it flaky. There is a hint, but it will be another departure. It's another ornament, we'll just say it, okay? But it's not the same one, and anyway, it won't be jewelry, although I'm sure you can make it into jewelry. There it is. That is posted up on the website, and so if you are interested in that, there it is. Okay, so today the project is the rainbow bracelet. Why? I think you can tell by the colors. I do have all three colors on here. I have copper, brass, and silver, but of course you can do it in whatever you want. So let's go through all the steps that you need and all the tools that you'll need for this project. Okay, first of all, you'll need a file of some sort. Metal file is nice. Some sandpaper, also 400 sandpaper is always useful here. A bench block, a chasing hammer, some dowel rods. We have 5/8, 1/2, and 1/4 inch dowel rods. Those are great. Some heavy duty cutters. These are the Kiba cutters. By the way, all of this stuff can be found on our website at theurbanbeater.com, and I provided links in the details of the Facebook Q Talk page in this video description, okay? You'll also need some pliers. It's sort of like chainmail because we're going to be opening and closing some jump rings, so I really like my bent nose Zurons, and and a pair of just plain chain nose is helpful, okay? I don't like to use two bent noses at the same time. I don't know, it's a thing. Anyway, so you'll need 16 gauge wire, in all three colors, or just one color if you like to do just silver, or two colors, whatever it is that you want. And of course, some 19 gauge 5mm jump rings, okay? If you don't have 19 gauge, that's fine. You can use 18 gauge. I personally would not use 20. I think it's too thin. All right, let's jump in and get started. So the thing is about this project that you really need to pay attention to is I'm gonna work in pairs. Trust me on this one, you want to work in pairs. It will work out to your advantage if you do this in pairs. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with some copper wire and bend it around the 5/8, okay? So you'll make as many lengths as you will need for your length because everybody's wrist is a little bit different. So I'm just gonna make 2 lengths right now, and I'm just bending it around a 5/8 dowel rod. Then, oops, I'm going to take out my heavy duty cutters, and right at the end, so that I don't have any waste at the end of the wire, just start clipping. There you go. So I have now 2 large jump rings. All right, with those jump rings, you want to go ahead and use your pliers or your fingers and work them together so that they stay together for soldering. Because one end is beveled, I'm going to pull out my Lindstrom flush cutters, and I'm going to just take off that other beveled end instead of filing, because I hate filing. but you can file if you like. You want those ends to come perfectly together, okay? You want them to butt up just like so, right? And you want to make sure they're even on both sides and over the top. You can feel it. Okay, there we go. And then we'll do the same here. Okay, and I have a little bit of a straight end there. That's okay. We're going to fix that too. I'm going to pull out my chain nose again and just bend that just a little bit. You'll have opportunity to fix that after you solder. And of course, you're going to need a soldering station, you know, a torch, pickle pot, some fire tweezers, that kind of thing. Okay, a solder board of some sort. We'll end up using a honeycomb solder board today because that's the most functional. So notice I'm just working these ends together to get that perfectly together, and then I'm going to solder that. Okay, if you're doing all silver, you'll use hard solder. Today I'm doing copper, so I'm going to go ahead and just use my copper solder. Set that aside, put that right there. We'll go ahead and zoom in for you for a second here. Go, let's move things around. So just a teeny weeny bit of copper solder. Just like that. That's actually a little too much. Hold on. Where are my pins? Oh, there you are. Just going to take some of that off. It's too much. You know, the more solder you have on here, the more you'll have to clean it up later. Arg, which is never good, right? So as you work through this process, if this is new for you, you'll learn to keep it neater and neater as you go, okay? There we are. And I'm just going to solder those two joints. If you're making an entire bracelet, you might want to production line it. So this is copper, so I don't have to heat the whole thing. That's just for fun. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to hit the joint right there, right at the blue tip, okay? And then I'm going to do the other one. Okay, fire tweezers. My quench bowl is to the side. You can see there. And then we'll go ahead and pickle that. In the meantime, we'll make a couple more rings while that pickles. All right, you'll pull out your 16 gauge brass. And we're going to wrap that around a 1/2 inch dowel rod, a couple times there too. You need half the number of, you need half the number of brass rings as you do to copper rings. Just remember that. You don't need the same number because we're only, so you can see, we're only using half of it. Less than half, but we're going to go with the number half. Okay? The number of half, sorry. Okay, so now I'm going to trim that. So I have a nice ring. There we are. Don't love the shape, so I'm going to fix it real quick. Okay. There it is. And then I'm going to do the same for the silver, but I'm going to wrap it around a 1/4 inch. Just like so. Of course, I'm using scrap because, you know, that's the kind of girl I am. I'm slightly short, but that's okay because I don't need the whole entire ring. I just need a partial, as you can see there, right? So just work it down, just like so. Okay. So the other thing you need to do is you want to make sure that this is flat. So you can see it is not flat, and neither is this one. So we'll just put on our bench block, and we're going to flatten that. Now, if you want to, see, I have textured the rings just a little tiny bit. If you like texture, go ahead and texture it now. If you don't want to texture it, that's fine too. So I'm going to go ahead and make 3 textures on here. Size of the copper ring was 5/8. And just to repeat the sizes, it was a question. 5/8, 1/2, and 1/4 inch is what that is. Okay? Okay. Okay, so here I'm just going to flatten a little bit the silver one. That's my texture of choice. You don't have to flatten this at all. I'm just trying to create a little bit of extra interest with my rings, okay? This one I'm going to use a blade of a riveting hammer. And I'm just making little hash marks. It's slightly different from hammered marks. And whether or not you see it in the camera, I don't know. But I can see it. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to go grab my copper. Oops. So we're grabbing the copper rings out of the pickle. Make sure when you're pulling things out of the pickle that you rinse it well with water, okay? Because that is acid. All right, so here you see that my ring is not round. So I'm going to go ahead and round that up. You can put that back in the dowel rod. For me, it's easiest just to put it back into a ring mandrel. It's easier because it's tapered, and I can just push it down a little bit. Oops. Oh, close. Okay, and make that round again. Just a little bit, just like that. Okay, I'm not so worried about it being flat. Why? Because I'm going to texturize it, and that should actually flatten it for me. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm using the back end of my chasing hammer this time because I'm just trying to create different types of texture here just to make it interesting. But if you don't like texture, that's fine, because you know what, honestly, I don't like everything hammered. I usually prefer things to be smooth, but on this one, I just thought it was a little bit too plain, and I wanted some interest, okay? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right, so just working my way around gently. Now I'm not using this end of the chasing hammer because it basically really flattens it, and I'm not really doing anything like that to create any real weak spots. And I was very careful when I used a blade of my. I was really careful when I was using the blade of my riveting hammer not to create gouges in the in the ring. Okay, so now we're going to solder this. Okay, so this will explain why I'm doing it the way I am doing it, because here's the deal. I'm going to solder these together and then cut it apart. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if you try to solder this, okay, one at a time, what's going to happen is, did you see that? It falls over. It's leaned over. It's not on an even plane. And then you're going to have to figure out how to keep this up. Now, you're going to then say, well, what if I just cut the arch, right, or the arc and put it on? Well, it'll flop the other way because you have this heavy spot over here and it goes the other way. So this is about thinking through the process to figure out where you can manipulate the system. So this is how I'm doing it. Whoops. I'm going to pull out my tweezers. Okay. So now, in addition to doing this, the other thing I'm doing too is I'm making sure that my joint here is underneath my ring, okay? So there we are. I'm going to turn this too. Okay, so you see my joints are underneath the brass ring, which is great. Another thing I'm doing too is, notice I didn't solder the brass ring closed. I'm leaving the brass ring open and leaving the opening on the side that I'm going to cut off anyway. So why do double the work? Okay, next up, we'll put this guy in here. Oh, he turned out a little bit big. I don't know why. Why are you so big? Oops. Let's check. Yeah, I made them a little big. Okay. So we're just going to squeeze them together a little bit. Make them a little smaller. There we are. Okie dokie. Okay, so I'm sort of ready to solder, but I'm taking an extra step out here to mark my rings, okay? Because I need to place solder down and I don't know where to go. So I'm gonna take the time, whoops, and I'm gonna mark it gently, like so. And I'm gonna go ahead and pin it as I go. And I'm marking it where I need the solder to go, okay? Just like that. And I'm pinning this in place because I can. All right, so now I'm gonna remove that brass one. And I'm gonna gently mark for the silver. All right, there we go. Can you see that? I hope you can. Can you see all my little marks? Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to take, again, solder. I'm going to use copper solder. If you're doing all silver, you're gonna go to medium solder, all in one shot. Okay, so we're gonna put solder on all those little points that we had marked. Tiny little bit. This is tedious, I know, but because we are doing it in doubles, it makes it really fast and worth it. Trust me on this one. It's totally worth it to work in doubles, okay? So much easier. Okie dokie there. And there. Okay, so now they have solder in all those places. Hopefully, everybody will play nice and stay, oops, where I wanted them to be. This one. Whoa, I'm way off. That's okay. Take the solder off of there. Gonna have to add, okay, so I was way off on that mark. I don't know what happened, but we're just gonna put solder right in there. Just little tiny dabs. Can you see it? It's tiny, itty bitty. There we go. Okay, now we'll put the silver one on. Yes, I'm using copper solder for the silver one too. Might as well. It's underneath, so it doesn't really matter. No one's gonna see it. Okay, I think we're good. All right, let's give it a try. I'm gonna heat everything. The bottom one, the top one, everything needs a bit of heat. And then I'm gonna hit each joint. Okay? I am really sketchy about this one right here. It does not inspire anything, no confidence. So, I put a little bit right there. I'm gonna resolder that just because I didn't have any confidence that it actually worked. Okay. Sorry about my head there. That's what you get for an overhead camera. Oops. Okay. Give it a second to think about it because this is copper solder and it's really soft, so it does need a minute to set. Okay. So you don't want to just grab it right away. Oh, so you can see, here we are. All right, so you want to check at this point that all your joints are good. Okay, so nope, the one that did not inspire confidence, still, it's not together. Absolutely not. But the other ones are. Yay. I'm going to go ahead and pickle this, resolder that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so far so good. Are you guys following along? Any questions? Excited for the silver ornamental. I know you guys are going to get it by the end of this week, I think, by the time it gets to you in the mail. Oh, anyway, I'm going to make another one and I'm going to put stones on it. That's next. That's going to be a lucky mail lady who's going to get that for the holidays. Yup. All right, so we are currently in the pickle. Give that a minute to do its thing. And let's see. Okay, coming out of the pickle. Okay, so one thing that you always need to know is that although I'm using brass, after you pickle, you'll always notice that the brass has turned pink. Well, that's copper oxides, because what is brass made of? Brass is made of using, it's an alloy of copper and zinc. And that's the reason why it's turning pink. So you're going to need to clean that back off to get the brass to come back. All right, so here we are. We're back to this. Let's put some more solder on there. Just a teeny weeny bit. And I'm going to resolder that one joint. Yep. It's a lot of solder cue. All right. So I'm just going to heat right there, and it's slightly lifted, so I'm going to use my solder pick to sort of just push it back down while it solders, just to keep it in place. If you're doing silver, you'll need to heat the whole thing for a second and then go there. So here I'm just going to heat it, and I'm going to, there we go, hold it down. That should do it. I see that the solder has flowed. Looks like a good connection. Oh, yay. Okay, so that did work. Let's go ahead and throw that in the pickle again. And then we're going to cut it apart and link it together. It is that easy. Today was an easy project. Really straightforward. I think it looks much more interesting than the process lends itself to. But hey, sometimes we need an easy project just for instant gratification, right? By the way, you can download this project from theurbanbeater.com. Downloads are $5 a piece. This is the way of contributing if you are finding any value in what you're watching. This is how we keep everything going. Okay, here we come. There we go. We'll do some finishing. So now you're going to cut this apart. Easy peasy. So if you're looking, notice how I'm cutting it along the same lines as the outside. That came off because I made sure that the two ends, open ends, were at the same side. There we go. And here's the other one. Oops. And okay. So now you really do want to take time. These are really sharp points. You really want to take time out and file them. Okay. And I am going to file it really close to the ring. Okay, to make a nice transition. So we'll file that. And I'm going to file at a slight angle down, like so. And it makes for, again, a nice transition, okay? All the ends needs to be filed. And notice how easily we just made 2 links. Of course, you can use smaller links if you prefer something smaller. Frankly, if I was wearing this, I would have started a lot smaller because I'm a nut. I like things small. And so instead of 5/8, I probably would have started with a 1/2 inch link and then worked my way down from there. Okay. By the way, dowel rods are back in stock if you needed a set. It is on our website. But dowel rods really come in handy. Because sometimes you just need cylindrical mandrels to work with. Okay. There we go. We're feeling that. All right. There it is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out some sandpaper and I'm going to sand the brass to bring that back up and some steel wool. Remember, if you're working with steel wool, if you need to resolder or anything like that, make sure that you rinse your piece thoroughly so that you don't get steel wool back into your pickle, because that's really going to cause a problem. And so you notice it's already coming right back up. Okay. Easy, easy. Actually, I want to see something here. Yeah, it's coming back up with the steel wool too. Didn't need to sand it so much. There we go. Can you use a brass brush? Absolutely. If you're a brass brush kind of gal, use a brass brush. Or guy. You can also patina this if you prefer a patinaed look. I liked it bright. I don't know. This one just, I liked it bright. It is a little 80s though, isn't it? Maybe we should have called it retro. It's a little bit retro. So is it 80s or 90s? I don't know. Maybe I'm showing my age too. So I'm just cleaning this up before I connect everything. So the question is, will super pickle turn the brass from turning pink? No, because you're talking about copper oxides. It is inherent to the brass. It is not copper from the pickle that is coming to it. It's copper from coming to the surface. It's like a depletion deal, right? Okay. There we go. Because, you know, when you heat silver, believe it or not, that black is also oxidized copper coming to the surface. All right, so here it is. Obviously this piece has been sitting around a little bit because it's patinaed and it's a little darker, but I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the existing bracelet. And you just need jump rings. So I'm using brass. Again, you can use whatever color you want. There we go. And I'm jumping it inside of the rainbow, okay? Because I like it there. You don't have to, but you can. And I'm also doing a double jump ring because, again, it was a design choice. You can even go to a triple if you want to, and then it sort of goes along with the pattern here. So the question is, are we going to stock the 19 gauge jump rings? No, quite frankly, our vendor that we use has been back ordered like forever. So that's the story. But you can get the, where did I get these? You can get the brass and the copper, nearly positive I got it from Rio. I don't know where my bag went. Anyway, so there we go. I'm going to do the next link. And, you know, I'm going to do a triple on one of these links just to show you what it looks like. Because maybe you might want to do triple. just sort of fun. I don't think I've ever done a bracelet with 3 jump rings in between. Okay. So what else is going on out there and not here in Ohio? Anything fun to report? Let's see. I know some of you have snow. Let me tell you, it's not us. Woohoo! Not yet. Okay. There it is. I'm going to do one more jump ring so you can see what that looks like on this last one. And then we'll do the clasp really quickly. Oh, that suggestion. Somebody said to do a jump ring of each color. That's a good idea. Didn't even think of that. I like it. Okay, let's see. This is what 3 jump rings would look like. And also be mindful when you are jumping these together that the arches are on the same side, right? That one is not flipped over the other way like that. It'll look different. Anyway, so 3 jump rings is what that looks like, and 2 jump rings. Yeah, so I think 1 is just not right. So at least 2 or 3. I think that's totally fun. What was suggested is 1 of each color. Ooh, good idea. Okay, so let's make the clasp really quickly here. So it's just a toggle bar, and it works like so. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's make one. So all you need to do is get a piece of wire. I used 2 colors on mine. I used silver and copper. Today I'm going to go ahead and do copper and brass because I can, and it's a demo. And we're going to cut this. Let's see, where are we? This is about 1 1/8 inch. I'm going to go ahead and go to 1 1/4 inch because I know I'm not going to get it perfect and I'm going to need a little room for trimming anyway. And we'll mark the other one like so. Okay, let's see. If they're not straight, oh, what are the chances? Mine lined up nicely. So I'm not even going to bother straightening this up because they're the same. Let's put it together and solder them. So I'm just soldering 2 pieces of wire side by side. You can go 3 if you want to. I'm going with 2. My solder went missing. Okay, what did I do? Every time. I know, it's relentless. I lost my solder. Do you guys see it? What the heck? Every single time I do this, I lose the solder. Okay, I found it. It's in the drawer. Sitting obscurely because I threw it together. Okay, so grab a little bit of solder. I'm going to put some on each end. Just like so. I'll go to the other end. Like so. And we're going to heat it. And we're going to run the solder all the way down and get it tacked together. There we go. Okay. Brilliant. All right. It's not fire scaled enough to have to pickle, so I'm going to go ahead and put a jump ring on there. So if you notice, it's just a half jump ring, okay? Let me grab one and cut that. And it doesn't matter what color you use here too. Now remember, the wire that you use just has to be bare wire. It cannot be plated wire. Plated wire is just not going to work for you. All right. So here I have my half jump ring. You can see that. And I'm going to dip it right into my solder, just like so, just to grab a little bit of solder for each end, as you can see. And we're going to butt it right up there in the middle. Okay, I lost all my solder because I had so little on there. Okay, grabbing some more solder again. Slightly more. There we go. And we want to put this in the middle of that bar, okay? And we're just going to heat it. But what I'm going to do a little bit differently here is I'm going to heat it from this side, not from the jump ring side. Because if you heat it from the jump ring side, the jump ring's going to get hot first, right? And all the solder will run to the jump ring because remember, solder follows heat, okay? So you want to heat from this side to get the solder to come towards you. There's plenty of residual heat here for the jump ring to get hot, but what you really want to get hot is you want to get the bar hot. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with solder paste, the solder already has the flux built into it. Thus, it's a one-stepper. There we go. It flowed. Give it a second. By the way, if you're out there watching, do say hello or give us a like. Let us know you're out there. It does help our algorithm too, and we appreciate that. Whether you're on Twitch or Facebook, we really appreciate that. So the question is, would you be able to ball the ends? I'm assuming the question is, can you ball the ends or fuse both of them together at the same time? You know what, frankly, I don't know. But this is going so quickly, let's give it a try. But give me a second here. I'm going to go ahead and trim this. Right. And the thing is here, we're going to bend this just a little bit. Make sure you file those ends. Let's see. So file the ends. But you guys know how to file, I hope. And I'm going to pull out my nylon nose and I'm just going to give it a bend. So it gives it a nice little shape and it also makes it a little bit more secure when you're wearing it. Okay? So just a little bend like so. And then attach it to the bracelet. So the thing I want you to note is that notice I have one jump ring attaching the bar and then doubles. And you need several, okay? Because if you don't have several jump rings here, then you won't have enough room to pull this through, okay? Because if it's tight right next to the link, then there's no give and you can't get the bar through, okay? So again, you need to make sure that you have at least 2 to 3 chain links to get to the bar. Now, another thing too is if you're in between sizes, this is how you're going to add length to your bracelet without having to add an entire link, because maybe you just needed another 1/4 inch. It would be too big if you added an entire link, okay? So there we go. Okay, so the question was, can you ball the ends? And again, I'm assuming, until somebody says differently, I'm assuming you're asking if you can ball the brass to the copper, okay? I don't know. We're gonna find out. What Okay, so the second part of the question was, when would you do that if you were to do this? Now, first of all, I would not bother to even solder it, right? So we're going to cut that right there. I'm not going to bother to solder it, and the reason why is because the solder cannot withstand that heat, especially copper solder. It's just going to fall apart anyway. So I'm just going to hold it like this and make sure that the ends are touching. Okay, make sure the ends are touching. Hello. Maybe not. Maybe not so simple. Let's see. Not so simple. See how it's just sort of moving on me? And if I hold it up, I know, it just fell. Okay. So how about this? I'm going to twist them together. We're working through it. It's a good question. I like it. So we're going to do it. I know I'm asking a lot here with 16 gauge, by the way, and it's going to take quite a bit of heat. If you were doing this, I'd probably go down to a 18 gauge. Okay, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a twist to keep them together. It's not going to be pretty, but we're just playing, right? This is what's fun about working on the fly. Okay, so I got that together. I'm going to twist the other side together too. And of course, this is getting harder and harder to do because it's work hardening. But I just really want to get the ends together. And I don't know why I'm trying so hard with a pair of nylon nose like this is real. The reason why I would use nylon nose if this was actually real is to keep it from marring, okay? And the reason why I'm using parallel pliers, because if you notice, it closes evenly, right? Parallel versus a standard pair of chain nose. So this gives me a better grip for what I'm trying to do. All right. Okay, so here we are. And actually, you know what? Let me change cameras here too so you can see my angle. Where's my mouse? Okay. Give me a second. Let me see if I can change that camera. That's over there. I need to move it. Okay, I think you'll be able to see that there. Let's switch cameras to this. All right. So, yeah, you can see that. So again, this is going to take a minute. You know, it's hard enough to do this with the copper at 16 gauge. Now we're doing copper and brass at the same time. So what's going to happen here is the ends should fuse together and make a ball. I know that if I was using a hotter torch, I could definitely do this a lot easier. And notice I am right at that blue tip. I can turn that up. Okay, it's going to get back hot again. It's getting there. The brass is starting to go. It should just alloy, because think about it. All metals have a flow point, right? Okay, I'm turning it like this because I want it to come together, and it just did. I don't know if you saw that, but it totally just came together. And I want a ball. So it did fuse, but I want a ball. Come on, baby. Just do it for me. It's a lot of heat, and I'm constantly looking around. If you can actually see my eyes, make sure I'm not melting anything in front of me. It's always a challenge in doing this stuff. Okay, this is like a lot of heat. Might not be enough heat, because remember, butane only burns at 2,500 degrees. I'm asking a lot of this. Okay, it doesn't want to go. If you want to hang out for a second, I'm going to go turn on the oxygen. Otherwise, we're pretty much done with this project, but hold on, I'm going to show you. You see? it did fuse together. It didn't make a ball because I couldn't get it hot enough. I'm going to go turn on the other torch real quick. Hold on. Because I got to turn on the oxygen, which is in the other room. Okay. So you know what's really great about being week 34 into this is that I'm no longer on an attached microphone. You know, if this was 30 weeks ago, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm still attached. So much more mobile these days, which is great. We are progressing, which is cool. All right, let's see. That's oxygen. Okay, that's gas. There we go. Give it a second for the gas to catch up. Okay, so this burns, this burns at like, I don't know, almost 4,000 degrees. This is a natural gas and oxygen. It always takes a minute for this to happen. I feel like I gotta get it warmed up. Oh, and then I go blowing it out. That's great. Hello. You had to challenge me this way, right? It's good. It's all good. I don't know why I'm being... Sorry. There we go. Okay. Jesus. Honey, can you repeat that? Okay. So I'm being informed that you should heat from the copper side because it's a higher melting point, which is clearly true because the brass melted first. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go right in there. Yep. See, when you have a hot torch, hotter torch, it goes faster. And I can already see it wants to do it. You guys can see that, right? Come on. Come on, baby. There we go. And it's balling. That's a ball. You see that? Not wanting to focus today, really? Okay. Okay, so I have a ball. I'm going to do it again from the other side, just because I can. And we have an extra minute. Because, you know, we like to keep this under an hour, but we don't like to make it too short. Because we want to make it worth your while for coming by and taking time out of your day to hang out with us. Okay, so there we go. There's the copper. And there's the brass. Hey, thanks for the tip, Cheryl. That worked really well. So I heated the copper side first before the brass. So the bar was cut at 1.25 inches. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Just again, just now you got me all curious and playing around with this stuff. Now I want to go fusing copper and brass together just because I can. But you know what? Most of you guys are gonna struggle if you don't have this kind of torch. I would tell you the butane torch at the 16 gauge is way challenging. So give me a second. I'm gonna pickle this, and let's see what it looks like. Yay! So, honey, who asked about the copper and brass balling? Kristen, thanks! Really appreciate it. You know, again, it's questions like that and it's inquiries like that that make things really interesting. And it keeps me on my toes, frankly. Sometimes it's like, I have no idea. But other times it just makes for, you know, more fun and interest. Okay, I'm going to switch out cameras. Give it a second in the pickle here, and we'll take a look at it. But, you know, it's sort of like the Departure 3 Flaky. We're doing an ornament. So for, you know, because everybody liked it so much, and actually we talked about it when we did it. So anyway, so what's going on Wednesday while we wait for this to pickle? Wednesday. What? You're welcome, Kristen. So Wednesday is Step by Step Surprise is back, and we are doing a project called Split Rings. I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out what that means. And then on Friday, we are doing, sorry about the confusion last week, but we are doing Autumn Splendor on Friday. We had Gemorama over last weekend. Hopefully it was successful for them. I have not heard. Okay, so here we are. Sort of interesting, right? That the lighter one is the brass and the darker one is definitely the copper. So let's clean it up. See what happens. Okay. I don't like it. Let me clean that. I'm going to throw it back in the pickle for a second. It needs a little bit more pickle. It's been tormented quite a bit. So, yeah, with that much heat, and yes, my pickle is pretty hot, but it looks like it needs another minute. Okay, let's see. While we wait, I'm gonna clean this up. What else is going on next week? I can't think. Oh, we're doing the Caprice earrings. This is gonna be the last one in the Minimal Metal series. Okay. And did you notice my ring? So this is the Deco ring. This is going to be our Zoom project for December. Again, getting very close to posting that. And of course, December is a very, very busy month, I think, for everybody. So right after Thanksgiving is Virtually Ever Crafting. And we are taking a vacation to go visit our son in Arizona because he is graduating from college. Let me just put it this way. Thank God. It's about time, dude. Anyway, so I thought would be a great time to go ahead and take a little bit of time off because I remember how tired I was after the last Virtually Ever Crafting. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, there's Christmas and New Year's, both on Fridays, that we'll be taking that off. So there's only going to be a couple projects for December, but I'll be posting that pretty soon. Well, I'm glad, Gemorama. Thanks for sharing that about Gemorama. I'm glad Gemorama turned out well. Class was a lot of fun on this end. Anyway, so here we are back again. It is pickled a little bit better. So let's clean it up and see what it looks like. Okay. The year is almost over. If you're following me on Facebook personally, have you done 10 good deeds for the rest of the year? That's my challenge to everybody. Let's do 10 things for humanity. Yay? Yes? Maybe? This weekend I went out and volunteered for the National Park Service and did leaf removal of the trails. That's how trails get cleaned up. I had no idea until I started volunteering for them, which is really cool. So now I can participate. What's my next deed? I believe this week, They're going to go give blood. They need it. Right? So let's do something. All right, so this is going to take quite a bit of cleanup, actually. But here it is. Okay. You can't tell that it's... I'm looking at the screen. You can't really tell that it's brass. I can barely tell that it is brass. I think it's going to take a bit more work to get the brass to come back up. But you know what? It's more curious on the ends what it looks like. Let's see. So we'll do just a little bit more toying around just to see what that is. Well, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. My verdict is sort of out. I mean, it's just sort of fun, but my verdict is definitely out on this. Okay. So, again, you probably can't tell looking at the screen, but me sitting here looking at it is not really a bicolor on the end at all. And another thing too is it didn't melt really nice. You can see it's just sort of okay. It's not great. It's better on this side. This is a side that I did with the butane torch and it just sort of got funky. This is a side I did with the Genteq with my natural gas torch. You know, some people have propane, some people have acetylene, which is fine too. You need it to get to those really hot temps with the oxygen. That's what we're looking for. And this is okay. I can't say it's that interesting, but it's not that not interesting, right? But the brass is starting to come up. You can see that there, okay? And that's what we have. All right. Well, I think that's it for me. Anybody else have any questions? I don't know. Just sort of fun. So thanks so much for hanging out with me on this beautiful Monday. I am going to go back to work. Like I said, Ornamental is going to start shipping, Silver Kit is going to start shipping tomorrow. If you haven't done it yet, or you're still looking for a copper kit, because there are so many requests, we went ahead and got more material so that you can order more copper kits too. But and then there's literally only 6 or so, I don't know, a handful of the silver ones left at this point because I ordered some extra. Anyway. So that's it for me. On Wednesday, be prepared, step-by-step surprise split ring is on Wednesday. I will see you back here 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Thanks everybody. And thanks again for sharing this video and the Facebook page. I really appreciate it. Okay. Have a great day.